PBA50 National Championship presented by Spanish Springs Lanes and Radical. Live from Spanish Springs Lanes here in the Village is Craig Elliott and Randy Pedersen, PBA Hall of Famer, on the call for the star-studded Stepladder final here, Randy. Who do you like?
Well, I'll tell you what, if Parker Bohn finds a home, he's the only southpaw in the top 5. And, boy, I really like his chances if he can maintain a consistent ball reaction to the pocket. However, this tournament is Norm Duke's tournament to win or lose. He led by almost 200 pins, and he has really been the dominant figure in this event.
Yeah, Norm Duke, Walter A. Williams Jr., Parker Bohn III, Ron Mohr, and Lenny Borscht are top 5. That's pretty impressive for the second stop on the season this year.
4 out of 5 Hall of Famers.
And we are ready to go. Opening match, Walter A. Williams Jr., Parker Bohn III. And Parker made the stepladder in pretty impressive fashion. Big game in position round to go around Pete Weber.
Well, remember this morning he started with 300. Got himself off to a good start. I mean, you get rich pretty quick. And then the last game bowls a big 260 game to make it. He needed a double and 9 to go around Pete Weber. And Parker got up and went flush, flush, flush.
Opening match here, and Walter Ray with a win today can tie for second in all-time PBA50 titles with 12. And today is actually Leslie Bohn's birthday, so Parker would like to say happy birthday, Leslie. And so will we.
And Leslie, a great bowler in her own right. That was tugged. Yep.
So, Randy, we talked before we went on air. The pair's been sitting for about 5 hours. It was a little while ago. It's fresh, but it's been sitting. What does that do when that happens?
Well, I think the integrity of the pattern is better if it has time to sit. And then it all boils down to how the players break the old pattern down in practice. And, of course, like all great Hall of Famers, Parker Bohn III, a great spare shooter.
Walter with a second-place finish in Newport Richie earlier this week in the first stop on the PBA50 Tour.
Holy cow. Talk about what you don't want to see in an opening shot of a match is a pocket split. Walter Ray playing much farther right. And watching the players in practice, Craig, it looked to me like they were trying to break this pattern down much farther to the right than they've been playing all week. Dead eye. Oh, that was so close. You know, one thing you have to keep in mind is a player like Walter Ray, when he leaves the 4-9, he gets up to shoot it expecting to make it. There you go, outside first arrow. Holy smokes. Wow. I'll tell you what, there's 2 players right now that come to mind that are great at playing that line, Walter Ray and Norm Duke. That ball wheeled back from the third board with bad intentions.
Ron Mohr, the 3 seed, will take on the winner of this match between 2 Hall of Famers.
Much better shot there. Carries the 7. Watching Parker in practice, this pair looked like, because it's fresh and because this pattern sat for as long as it did, Parker looked like he had a lot more back end, and so now he can actually open the lane up just a little bit. That first shot he threw obviously was too much up the lane, went high. That last shot was perfect. He gave it a little room to the left. And English is my second language. Hard to talk when the dentures are moving. Just saying. Up the lane again. A little more speed, and that's high flush.
So was that 4.9 just an aberration, or you think he missed just a little bit on it? Because that one looked pretty good.
Well, it could have been anything. He could have missed target left. That line could have broken down a little bit after practice, and it could have been maybe a poor shot. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever been stumped in my 18 years of television.
I apologize.
Oh, that needs to hook a lot. Yeah, looked like he got it a little bit wide and missed it. This was pretty quick out of his hand, and location was a little bit right of the last shot on that lane. And you got to love the Brunswick Black Diamond spare ball. I mean, is there anything better than that? You want to talk about old school? The only thing that would be better than that is if you whipped out a Manhattan rubber to shoot spares. That would be cool. Do you know that my first ball ever growing up as a kid was a Manhattan rubber? First ball ever. I remember the smell of the pro shop guy drilling it and going through the cork. It was the most beautiful smell ever. You know what it smelled like? It smelled like victory. Oh boy. Oh yeah. So you watch his trajectory out of his hand. If it goes just a shade to the left, it's going to be good.
And this is a look that Parker didn't really have all week long. He put on quite the charge in the last 24 hours to get to this position.
Well, we talked about it. He started with 300 the last 8 games, ended with a 260 game. And that was his road to getting to the Stepladder finals. But this man is dangerous on that side of the lane. He knows how to build a spot, and he is no stranger to climbing the ladder for a victory. Oh boy, right. Oh! That was right of right out of his hand. And talk about a great break. This is the epitome of nosedive. He knew it. And how about that? That could have been 6. Instead, it's 10 and a string for Parker Bohn III.
And Walter's just kind of laughing off. But is when you see your opponent do that, what are you thinking?
You're thinking, I'm probably not going to win this game. Whoops. And that was probably a little bit of the residue from the shot before on the left lane, where Walter Ray made sure that he didn't get it too far to the right. And so this is left all the way. Now, that was the same kind of hit as Parker's, only Walter Ray gets 8. Parker gets a strike. Black Diamond. Skinny jeans. Runaway halfway through game 1. Parker Bohn spare 4-bagger. Walter Ray open with the 4.9 in the first. A double. Walter Ray going at 195 right now. Trailing by 30 plus.
Come on, baby.
Wow.
And that's when you know things are going your way. 4.9 in the first, 7.10 in the 6th. And this match is getting gift wrapped for Parker. So hard to win, guys, in a one-game match. It's a combination of execution, game planning, luck. So much goes into. You think about the players that have won as many times as they have on television, and they make it look easy, kind of like that. Parker taking complete advantage of the great break in the fifth frame by executing perfectly and having a 10-pin party in the pit with this shot right there. When he gets it to that spot on the lane, Craig, and it strikes, you got a long day ahead of you if you're his opponent.
He's creating a little bit of area down lane.
Well, and
taking advantage of it.
Right, and that's the fresh back end that he has. So he's got a little bit of that mistake area to the left. I was surprised he didn't leave a solid 7 on that hit. The way things have been going for Walter Ray in this game. Good shot, though. Just right of first arrow, and he's like, how about now? Oh, hey, thanks for nothing. Or as they said in that famous movie, thank you very little. Feel free to chime in anytime, guys. Viewers, they're looking at me like I'm crazy. All right, good shot there, Walter Ray. Making it respectable. Max score for Walter Ray, 222. Parker Bohn III is already in the 240s. So basically, without giving any secrets away, the writing is kind of on the wall unless something traumatic happens to this man.
So Lenny Borscht is waiting for the winner. We know Lenny likes to play fairly direct. He's seen what's happening to Walter. How does it affect Lenny's game plan here?
Hang on after the shot, I'll tell you. Oh, trip 6-8. You know, Lenny is so different. His ball roll is so different, and he's so unique. I can't even answer that. I have no idea. Lenny won here last year in a different event. So he's got great juju as we take a look at Parker Bohn, the third trip in the 6-8 late. There's no telling. I have no idea what his ball reaction looks like. But Lenny is that kind of that silent assassin out here on the PBA50 tour. Very unassuming, doesn't scare you with anything. All he does is just throw a lot of strikes. Yeah. All right, that's exactly right, Parker. Kick the bar. You haven't gotten a break yet this game. That's great stuff. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. If you don't like Parker Bohn III, then something's wrong with you.
I think Walter expected it to fall for him.
What a great guy. He's like, are you kidding me? This match is over. Parker is going to move on and take on Lenny Borscht, Jr. Great stuff for Parker. And the job that he did earlier to get to this point, a testament to his Hall of Fame career.
Well, he was not even in the top 32 3 games into his final block yesterday. And now he's here trying to run the ladder.
Another great week for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Second last week, 5th this week. Proving once again he still has a little bit of moxie left. And keep in mind, this guy's approaching 60 years old. Beauty.
So Lenny Borscht won his third PBA50 title last year in this center. But as you mentioned, Randy, a different event, different lane pattern, but he's still back in position to try to win again.
Come on, hit it. All right.
Is there something to be said about when you walk into bowling center, you're just comfortable regardless of what's out there?
Without question. We talked about it yesterday in how certain centers, no matter what pattern they put down, you always have success in that center. And other centers, no matter what they put down, you can't get the flat 10 out. I mean, that was my career. I knew places that I struggled in, and I kept going back year after year because apparently I like being abused. But you always went in thinking, okay, maybe this year would be different, and it was the same kind of characteristics. What could have been if the 4-9 checks in the first and then the pocket split in the sixth? Oh, hello. You don't think Lenny Borscht watched that shot? Right now, Lenny Borscht is your higher seed. He gets choice of starting lane. He's watching intently, trying to figure out what lane he wants Parker Bohn to finish on. Now, what does Parker do on his fill shot after leaving the flat 7? Come back with the same shot? Does he move? Does he try to soften up? Does he try to make it come around the corner more? This is an important shot, even though the match is over, because he will carry this with him to the next match. Now, guys, guess what? There's going to be some thinking going on for Parker Bohn III heading into our next match. Back-to-back week 7s, even though he wins, going to be some strategy involved coming up in our next match.
Well, I think we know which lane Lenny is going to have Parker finish on. Coming up next, Lenny Borscht, Parker Bohn III. PBA50 National Championship here at Spanish Springs Lanes, presented by Radical Craig Elliott and PBA Hall of Famer Randy Pedersen back on the call. And we have Parker Bohn III and Lenny Borscht.
Remember, guys, that the Villages has always been a great event. I mean, great crowds, host, great area, great venue, right? And so the PBA decided to elevate this to a major championship status this year. This is a major. We added a major to the schedule. So now we have 3 majors. So we have the PBA50 National Championship, we have the U.S. Open, and the Senior Masters. This is a major. And it's just so fitting that for this major championship, we have 4 Hall of Famers. And it was led by Norm Duke. Pete Weber just missed by 2 pins.
Because of this guy. Parker Bohn in position round shoots 266 to go around Pete Weber by just 2 pins.
You know, I said this earlier with in regards to Lenny Borscht, and we were talking about qualifying and Lenny getting there and blah, 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 and this and the other. But Lenny scares me. And I'll tell you why. First of all, he's got great juju here. He's got great mojo, right? He won a different event here last year. Remember the running it out and the fist pumping that I think you'll probably pull up here shortly? But he's so unassuming. He doesn't look like he should beat anybody. And all he does is strike. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't go by what you think you should you should be watching or what you think a player should do to throw strikes, this guy is a striking machine. Now take a look at this from last year. He needs this hit to win. He runs it out, and it was a massive messenger. Lenny Borscht is the real deal. Make no mistake about it, people.
Well, you mentioned all the PBA Hall of Famers. Lenny Borscht is a USBC Hall of Famer, 3 Open Championship titles. So,
yeah.
Yes. To your point, he knows what he's doing.
Lenny is the real deal. This guy can flat bowl. And I'm going to tell you right now, he is not intimidated in the least about going up against Parker or Walter Ray or Duke or anybody else. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, works hard at his craft, and he's a hell of a bowler.
And as we guessed, he's going to make Parker finish on that right lane.
Looks good. So now you see the number of shots that have gone down the lane for Parker on that side. All of a sudden, he's starting to see a little bit less down lane reaction. And that factors into the equation. The next time up, he's like, okay, well, if I get it too firm and get it too far left, it's not getting back. You see, all of this factors into the formulation of this next shot and where your mind's going. What did I just say, guys? What did I just say? So the next shot, what's the overcompensation? Pull. Now, what does Parker do? What's Parker telling himself? Well, Parker's strength is going firm and direct. His weakness is getting soft with his ball speed.
So you expect him to just square it up and throw harder. But is that the move?
The problem is now his brain is saying, okay, I've lost my miss area to the left. What I had in practice, every time I got it to that spot to the left of target, it would bank off of it and make it back to the pocket. Now it's going light. So now I don't have any mistake area to the left, which then locks the swing up. And right at the moment of truth, right at the release point, your brain goes, don't miss left. And you end up grabbing it and pulling it right.
Even at the Hall of Fame level of Parker Bohn.
Yes, sir. The quiet assassin, this guy, I'm telling you, he scares me. If I was in this Stepladder finals, yeah, we know what you're going to get with Bohn, Walter Ray, Duke, Ron Mohr. Yeah, but this guy, sneaky and scary. His son's a heck of a bowler as well. Hello. Major championship on the line. Lenny Borscht is all over it.
Does it look left to you off his hand?
It doesn't matter. It finished in the right spot. It's perfect. And to answer your question, Craig, I can't tell from my vantage point. All I can tell you is when it ends up in the right spot. Is that going to get back? All right. So now are you guys with me? You believe?
Absolutely.
He lost the hook area to the left. So now he's got to either ball up, go to something stronger that's going to read sooner, right? Or he's got to square up and hope that when he misses right, he's got enough hold to keep the ball in line. And I told you that in watching Parker in practice versus what I watched all day today, it looked like he had more back end on the fresh pattern, which bodes well for Parker. He likes to be firm. And so you give Parker that outside angle with a little bit of back end, and it spells trouble. Now all of a sudden we're starting to see, what did we see at the end of last game? Week 7 on the right lane, and now all of a sudden it's back-to-back 3 pins.
How difficult is it to make a ball change in the middle of a game now?
Oh, it's not when you're a Hall of Famer that's won 35 times. This is what you do. You go, okay, listen, it's time to change. 4th frame. There you go. And there's the overcompensation. His mind now knows that he can't miss left.
Right.
He's like, okay, I can't miss left. Let me get it up the lane. And he tugged it and grabbed it. And now it's the 2, 4, 7, 8. Great spare. He's keeping himself close, guys, but honestly, Lenny Borscht goes strike, ring 10, double. And I would be extremely surprised if Lenny misses the pocket. The players broke this pattern down perfectly. They all played farther to the right and burned up a spot to the outside part of the lane. And I think that they've got a great blueprint to get to the pocket. And that makes up for that ring 10 hit.
Now what's Lenny thinking about Parker, if anything at all? He sees what's going on.
He's thinking right now, I got this guy. All I have to do is execute because Parker's ball reaction is gone in one game. I got this guy. My ball reaction's great. I got him. All I have to do is execute.
So why does that ball reaction go away so fast?
Because with every ball that's thrown down the lane with reactive resin, the playing field changes. See a player start to walk it off after it gets to about 40 feet, you know it's game on. Parker knows he's in trouble now. Lenny Borscht has hit the pocket with every shot. The only blemish, the ringing 10 in the second. And there, the 6 goes to the sidewall and does its job, taking the 10 out. Parker knows he's in trouble. Major championship on the line. The winner advances to take on newly inducted Hall of Famer Ron Mohr.
Are you surprised Parker's sticking with the same ball here?
I'll tell you after this shot.
Okay.
Yep. So Parker's adjustment there was to try to get a little bit softer to create a little bit more down lane motion. And what did it do? He executes perfectly, and it's a ringing 7. That tells me it's the wrong ball. And it does happen that quickly. Now, I would never second guess Parker, but what I would do at this juncture is I would go to a ball that rolls extremely early, something really, really heavy, big ball, so he can be firm and the ball's still going to read. That's what I would do. Tom Carter is in agreement with me. And he's on Brunswick staff like Parker is. He knows the equipment. But it's so easy when you're an armchair quarterback, isn't it?
And again.
Now what do you think? Ring 10 flat, or excuse me, ring 7 flat 7.
Well, Randy, we were talking about it during qualifying a little bit. Is it possible that this is the best option he has, and that's why he's still going with it?
Well, only because I don't know enough about the Brunswick equipment and what ball he's throwing. I don't know if the ball he's throwing is asymmetrical. If it's symmetrical, I don't know if there is a bigger ball option. If there is, he should have moved to that ball probably in frame 4 or 5. Whoa, easy now. Easy there, Cowboy.
5-7 goes late, leaves just a 10. Look at this replay.
Easy there, Cowboy. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen to him. Leaving a pocket 7-10 and letting Parker right back in this. Remember, guys, when you have an opponent down, the last thing you want to do is give them any kind of opening, especially when you're bowling against Hall of Famers. It's not their first rodeo. They know how to take advantage of stuff like that.
So Parker can still shoot 232.
Lenny's at 229. That's got a hook. Yeah, got that in the flat 10 zone. The good news is he has mistake area. The bad news is you get a little too far to the right and the ball comes in soft, leaving that quitter 10.
Well, on a fresh and qualifying, that's a washout. There's no way that ball makes it back.
There's no question.
What's going through Parker's mind now after those last few shots when he knows he still has a chance in this match?
Got to take it off the sheet. Only chance he has. 232 if he strikes out 8th, 9th, and 10th. There you go, boys. Wrong ball. And it's so difficult to make the change in a one-game match, and he just had such great success in his opening match against Walter Ray. And then Walter Ray's looking at this match going, wow, if only that would have happened in our match, I would have won and kept moving on. But that's how fast the lanes transition, and that's how fast the lanes change. And right now Parker's like, okay, what do I have to do to get the 7-pin out? But, you know, I think Jeff brought up a great question in that why hasn't he made a different change? Does he not have any other options? And I'm probably going to have to go with, yeah, maybe not.
Do you think when he started with a double, that kind of tricked him into staying with this ball? We saw the 7-pin racks at the end of the game 1. Strikes the first 2 shots and think, hey, maybe it is the right ball.
I think what he did was he tried to manipulate that ball with the way he's throwing it. Finally kicks the 7 out. Still has life, 221. Max score for Parker Bohn III. Lenny Borscht is at 228 right now, but it's not over, especially in a center where you can leave a pocket 7-10 real easy. Lenny Borscht goes pocket 7-10 and then doesn't double in the 10th frame. Parker Bohn could still win this match. Well, like they said in the movie Shrek, any mark'll do, donkey. Any mark'll do. Something like that, right?
Something like that.
All right, any mark here in the 10th frame for Lenny Borscht. He moves on to take on Ron Mohr.
That's any mark right there.
You know what, guys? And I don't mean for this to sound derogatory, but Lenny Borscht has got a lot of area. He can get it right at first arrow. He can get it left at first arrow and still hit the pocket. And that's telling me how the right side of the lane is playing. And that's based on how the players broke that side of the lane down. The right side looks very, very strong. Ron Mohr's going to have a great look. Norm Duke's going to have a great look. And obviously, Lenny Borscht has a great look.
One Hall of Famer down. Another one waiting in the wings. Ron Mohr up next. 2018 PBA Hall of Fame inductee taking on Lenny Borscht in the semifinal match.
Into the PBA Hall of Fame. Ron Mohr.
Well, John Weber took care of all the introductions for us. Ron Mohr, Lenny Borscht. Semifinal match.
I'm going to go out on a limb and make a prediction right now that neither player misses the pocket this game. So it's going to come down to who carries, right?
Ron Mohr, 11-5 in match play, 230 average. Jumped in that top 5 and stayed there pretty much all day long. Ron Mohr went 392 over for his 8-game block this afternoon.
Prediction still intact. Intact. Tact would be something else.
Something very different.
Yeah. Tack and tact. I've always had trouble with those two words. Our first look at Ron Mohr. Are both players using the same bowling ball?
I believe so. Now, Ron not creating that area down lane as Lenny did. What'd you see there, Randy?
All right, so remember my prediction at the start of this match? That's already wrong. But see, Ron Mohr has more forward roll, forces him a little bit more to the inside part of the lane. Lenny kind of spins it through the front, and his ball's much cleaner through the front part of the lane.
So by doing that, is Lenny retaining more energy?
Without question. So Lenny gets it a little bit to the right. He comes around the corner. He gets it in. It skids. Right now, Lenny's look is the best that I've seen. But Ron's only thrown one shot. Let's give him a little bit of time. Both players using the same piece of equipment. Ron Mohr's obviously much farther to the left than Lenny Borscht. Oh boy. Lenny Borscht is around first arrow, like 4, 5, 6, 7. That shot there from Ron Mohr was about 12. Yep, in between second and third arrow. And that right there is called either the Greek church or grandma's teeth, depending on what part of the country you're from. He knew it as soon as he let go of it. He was hoping for a break, didn't get it. And immediately behind the 8 ball for Ron Mohr. And if you're Lenny Borscht, you got to be thinking, all right, let's double up on that strike and really put boots to him. Soft 10. I think Lenny's got such a great look to the pocket. He can get it in. He can miss right.
Lenny pretty consistent all day long. Blocks of 1666, 1652. Not a single game under 200 all day long.
You know, this is where you don't want to get sloppy, though. And when your opponent's not putting pressure on you, you can tend to relax a little bit more than you need to. There you go.
How do you avoid that?
Well,
knowing that that's an issue.
It's kind of the nature of the beast, right? Like your opponent starts out with the front 3 or 4. Guess what? I mean, you got to be on top of it to keep matching that. And as soon as you feel that you have an advantage, you get an open or an opening from your opponent, it's real easy to kind of go, and take a deep breath and go, okay, this isn't going to be as hard as I thought it would be. But you can't do that. You got to get on top and stay on top. Great shot by Ron Mohr. This guy's dangerous. You know what? He's got that open in the second frame, but it's just the second frame. Ron Mohr is a dangerous player. And you let this guy get on a roll, and he might strike out. And that's the last thing Lenny Borscht wants to let happen.
As we watch Ron throughout the multiple days of qualifying here, his intensity level seems to be at a high level from ball one, day one. How do you keep up that kind of energy over this long of a format in a major tournament?
Because that's what you do. That's what professionals do. That's what Hall of Famers do. Unlucky. Remember the last shot on that lane, he got it up the lane inside of target, and it goes through the nose for 5. This one he gives room to the right. It's probably way too far to the right. Still gets back and leaves that shaker 7. And that's certainly not what he was hoping for, because he was working on a strike. He could have doubled up and got right back into this match.
This is Ron Mohr's 105th PBA 50 event. It is his 99th cash. And maybe his 98th top 5. At least it seems that way.
It's a pretty solid percentage right there. There's 2-time PBA 50 Player of the Year, 2017 PBA 60 Player of the Year. And 2018 Hall of Fame inductee.
Gotta go. Yeah, I mean, this is go time now, guys. I mean, this is where you really get aggressive and you just make the shots necessary to win. And that's what Lenny Borscht did right there. This is where you know as a Hall of Famer, as a champion, that you have an advantage, and you have to take advantage of that advantage. Your opponent's down. He's struggling to get to the pocket. You've got the absolute perfect blueprint to get there, and now you just got to put pedal to the metal. And now he's taking him to the shed.
That's Lenny Borscht, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
Who do you think you are? I'm Lenny Borscht. Right there, baby.
I thought you were Randy Pedersen.
I was speaking over the replay. Lenny getting the 6 to kick the 10 out is. Thanks, Craig, for trying to trip me up. Can't happen. Next up, Ron Mohr. Can you get back into this match? Yeah. And so now, guys, for me, the writing is on the wall. I'm bowling an opponent who not only has an open frame, but cannot strike. This is where I start to lick my chops, and I'm going to get all over him like a bulldog on a pork chop. I'm going to just keep striking, keep the pressure on, and I'm going to move on to the title match.
All right, so that's what you're doing if you're Lenny Borscht. If you're Ron Mohr, what's the only way you can try to prevent that?
If you're Ron Mohr, it's dun-dun-dun. I mean, you know you're in trouble, man. I mean, it's, all right, all the calculations. All right, if I strike out now, I shoot 232. My only chance is if I strike out right now. How do I make that happen?
Effort 1.
That was a good shot there, boy. That was right in between those two shots where he went through the nose and left that little soft 10. But beautiful shot here. So Ron Mohr knows, all right, this is what I have to do to get my ball to face up properly and strike when it hits the pocket. But remember, he's still trailing. We talk about Ron's max score of 232. Good game, right? Well, Lenny Borsch's max score is 280.
Better game. He's not stopping, Randy.
Nor should he. Beautiful shot here. This shot here is going to say a lot. This gets him to the high 230s. Oh boy. What's that paper that's got green on it and presidents? What's that thing called?
Money.
That's what this shot is.
So Lenny shoots 248 last game. He's looking to be at least at this game. Norm Duke needs to formulate a plan if the game stays the way we see it in his championship match. What's Norm going to try?
Well, hang on. I'll tell you after this shot here, but let me tell you something. Norm's been in enough fist fights in championship round appearances that nothing that Lenny Borscht is doing right now intimidates Norm Duke. I saw Norm Duke shoot 280 on television only to lose to 297 to Brian Goebel at the True Value Open. I got to start limiting my words because I've reached the limit. Because anything after this is overtime. So you'll need to let PBA know that I need overtime pay. Thanks.
No.
Another great week for Ron Mohr, who just continues to defy all the naysayers age. You know, this guy is in tremendous shape. Holding, yeah, he got this in a little bit, but Ron, that's okay, buddy. Just a tremendous bowler, a tremendous guy. And what an honor to be inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame earlier this year for Ron Mohr. But this is all about Lenny Borscht and continuing to execute properly. Now, again, Ron Mohr can still shoot 232. Lenny Borscht right now in the high 230s. Make that 240.
240. Boresch with 6 in a row after the opening strike and spare. Still 280 remaining for him.
You know, guys, I hate to beat a dead horse because I would never do that because I'm an animal lover. But I kind of mentioned this at the top of the show that this guy's really dangerous. Anybody with me?
I concur.
Same.
Yeah, I got it right. He got it right and kind of missed it at the bottom, and so that's really the only thing he has to avoid. And honestly, Lenny Borsch's style doesn't really lend itself to swinging the ball a lot. He's way more of a down and in guy. That was just an errant shot, but his errant shot gets 9.
But he's been shaping the ball much more these last 2 games than we've seen all week long.
But it's still pretty straight through the front part of the lane, brother. It's shaping more because that straight part of the lane happens to be at first arrow. So now he's got to cover another 12 boards to get his ball to the pocket. Keep him honest. Ron Mohr knows he needs to strike out to force Lenny to get good count in the 10th. Beauty.
This just looks more relaxed, doesn't it?
Well, it's just a well executed shot. We talked so much about how difficult it is in a 1-game match. Lenny's got a game under his belt, taking down Parker Bohn III. Ron Mohr comes in off of a couple of practice shots, and all of a sudden he's thrown into the Lions' cage. It's a tall order. That looks good, too. That's why they pay me the big bucks, boys.
What looks good? Take another look.
Location. The location was good. Now it's just a matter of how good it is out of his hand. He gets it into the swish zone and carries. If he strikes out, he'll shoot 232. Lenny Borscht would need to get 7 on his first ball to lock it up. Another good one. And I'm telling you this looking at a 17-inch monitor. I need a raise. Another good shot by Ron Mohr. Boy, he'd like the first half of this game to maybe get a mulligan and take the first, second frame over. I'll tell you what, if he throws a strike for a second in the first and second frame, he can shoot 260. Whole different ball game. Remember, he left the Greek church in the second. Even if he strikes there, he's got a chance to win. Yes, sir.
Lenny needs 7.
Great finish. Lenny Borscht needs 7 on the first ball, and it's over.
Larry Ducat, proprietor here. Hugging Ron Mohr right there. Now back to Boresch, who needs 7. As stated 3 times in the last 19 seconds.
Just needs 7.
It's
And
enough.
he got 8. 8 is enough. Lenny Borscht moves on to the championship match here at the PBA50 National Championship presented by Spanish Springs Lanes and Radical here in the Villages, Florida at Spanish Springs Lanes. Lenny Borscht won this event last year when it was the Sun Bowl. This year it is a PBA50 Major, the National Championship. And Norm Duke is getting ready to take on Lenny Borscht in the championship match.
To win PBA Tour Player of the Year and PBA50 Tour Player of the Year. One of the toughest match game competitors there is, Norm Duke.
Second tournament of the season, first major here, Spanish Springs Lanes at PBA50 National Championship. Norm Duke, Lenny Borscht Jr. for the title.
Norm chooses to have Lenny start the match, which means Lenny's going to finish the match on the right lane.
And through 2 games, it doesn't look like there's one lane that's better or worse for Lenny. He bowled fantastic.
It did at the end of that last game.
What'd you see?
Well, remember what his reaction looked like. It was a little over-under. He went light and then he went high. Norm is usually the guy that loves to finish a match. He loves the pressure, he loves the limelight, and he's so good at it. There's a reason why Norm is choosing to finish first on the left lane.
We also had an observation that Norm didn't practice until just a couple minutes ago on the championship pair.
Right, great point. He got his 4 practice shots in between the semifinal match, and then for the final match he gets 8 shots that he can use wherever he feels necessary to use those shots, whether it's 4 and 4 or 6 and 2 or whatever. Man. So what we're seeing initially is that vintage Norm Duke soft, weak hand throwing it straight up 5. Great shot, bad result.
Norm, the PBA50 Player and Rookie of the Year in 2014. And he won just not quite a year ago the Race City Open in Mooresville, which is the next event on the schedule. His last title on the PBA50 Tour.
And Norm Duke loves collecting major championships. And this is one he does not have, the PBA50 National Championship.
And again, we talked about it, Norm not using a spare ball. He just flattens his hand out, rolls it end over end, uses that same strike ball. He loves the feel of that. He understands what that ball feels like, and all he does is adjust what his hand is doing coming out of that ball.
Seven PBA majors out of 38 total tour titles in Norm's career, and a couple senior majors to add to that. So this could be number 10 all-time majors for Norm Duke.
Uh-oh. He wasn't expecting that. Interesting what's happened to the transition on this pair. I didn't think the righties could miss. The location looked good, but the ball never grabbed the lane soon enough, leaving the 2-8.
Well, Ron Mohr stopped by and kind of mentioned to you what happened to him. What did he have to say?
So Ron Mohr comes by after his match, and he says, you know what, I played him too deep. I was anticipating more breakdown, and then all I did was towards the end of that match, I moved right, and all of a sudden I found it. How about it? I'll tell you what, you better archive that because you won't see that very often. Norm Duke missing a spare, especially a 2-8. So Norm's anticipating more hook at that spot, and the ball never picked up. Now he's talking to Jim Callahan, his tour rep. Bottom line is the left lane looks tight down lane. And that's the lane that Norm chose to finish on. Oh my.
Well, what's going on out there?
Transition. Hook on one lane, tight on the left lane. This is transition. This is what happens when bowling balls are thrown in the same area or the same part of a lane. All of a sudden, there's a lot of changes that go on. The front part of the lane starts to hook. The back part of the lane starts to get tight. And all of a sudden, that great reaction that he had 2 games ago is gone. That's a huge, huge opening. Norm Duke takes the lead on the bench by 4 after missing the 2-8.
How much of that is Lenny not getting practice between the matches and Norm getting to throw a few shots?
A little bit of that because Norm got the practice balls. The front part of the lane went on the right lane. Started to hook a little bit early. So now Lenny is micromanaging. He's making the adjustments and see what happens. All right. Strike on the left lane.
Another look.
Another one.
I'll tell you what, you don't want to get it any farther right than that. Remember the last shot that Lenny threw on this lane? Overhooked, it went through the nose. Norm has immediately moved in. He's going to try to hook it. Immediately threw 2 shots straight from out and jumped in about 10 boards to the left, and now he's going to curve it.
How does he do that? What tells him just go now?
Because he's a monster. It's the 3rd winningest player in the history of professional bowling. That's why his nickname is the Wee Iceman. It's Norm Duke.
Ball change, zone change, 10 in the pit.
I mean, this guy told me a long time ago, Randy, you have to make adjustments on the fly with conviction. No one better at it than this guy. No one more confident in his own ability than this guy. Now, okay, it's a double. I get that. Norm's going to make an adjustment on that left lane. Remember, Ron Mohr said how tight that left lane was. Remember, Norm Duke left a 2-8 on this lane. It was a great shot that barely got there. Norm's going to make an adjustment. And right now, he just gave Lenny Borscht something to think about. Lenny watched those 2 shots in. Uh-oh, he changed balls. He moved in. He's going to open the lane up, and that's a double. Okay, got to get on my horse. All right, and this is where my brain would start to fry. So I go through the nose, and then I make an adjustment off of it, and I go high again. Boy, that looked like a really good shot.
He'd been playing up 5. That was farther left, though, right?
But, well, remember he went high in frame 2, so he moved off of it. And again, Lenny has to finish on that lane. Major PBA50 championship on the line. Lenny Borscht Jr. taking on one of the greatest of all time in Norm Duke.
Lenny Borscht looking to get back into this match early. Much better shot there.
Well, much better result. I'm not so sure that the shot on the right lane was all that bad. But these next two shots from this guy is going to be very telling. Guy's like the PBA version of a mongoose. Uh-oh, threw it terrible.
Huge break.
So now we need two photos. One of him missing a 2-8 and one of him pulling it so bad he crosses over and goes Brooklyn. Because you'll never see that. It's like a Bigfoot sighting. When was the last time you could remember Norm Duke missing like that and going Brooklyn? That bent elbow in the downswing almost looked like he was trying to give it a little bit extra. Stayed in his hand a little bit too long. Way left of target.
So does that factor into his shot here? He knows he did not throw that one well at all.
I think that makes the shot easier, knowing that he just carried that garbage for a three-bagger. He knows exactly what to do on this lane. He's going to bump this lane 1-1 right with his feet in his target. And he's going to pure it for 10 in the pit.
You heard it here first.
All right, so let me rephrase that by saying that shot looked tentative. I agree. It looked tentative.
The crowd agrees.
That looked like a shot that where he was afraid to get it a little bit to the right. And another great break by not splitting. That could have been a big four easy. Right now, Norm Duke is having a chess match with Norm Duke.
Norm's going to maintain a small lead even if Lenny doubles here the next two shots. But we've got a game.
Well, we're halfway through, and it's still anybody's game, but Lenny has to somehow find a way to strike on this right lane. Double up on that strike that he has in the fifth and put some pressure on Norm Duke. Yeah, and that's the move. And he kept migrating left, and this ball takes forever to hook and get into the pocket. Remember, he started around first arrow. That was almost second arrow 2 games ago.
So high, and then flat 10. He struck both times on the left lane. What's he need to do to strike on that right lane?
Gosh, I mean, maybe just a speed thing. His options are he could get a little bit softer and stay where he is, or he can move a little bit right and try to firm it and jam it into the 1-3. With as much friction as there is to the right on that right lane, maybe moving right and firming up is not a bad idea. 23 down, 7th frame. Looks good. That looked good as soon as it left his shoelace.
So why does he not do what Norm did, grab a bigger ball and jump left?
Because that's not his game. This is his game. Down and in, doing what he does. He's not a guy that's going to move in and all of a sudden go 15 left and start opening the entire lane up. Last couple shots out of this man's hand, marginal at best. That's what he's afraid of. He moved in, went to a bigger ball, trying to go around the pattern a little bit more, and he was afraid of getting it to the right for fear of it not curving. Fortunate just to leave the 2-pin.
Or did this shot just burn up on him? Is that
no,
what's happening
there was no burn. There was no friction created, and that's why it didn't get to the pocket. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Norm go back to the ball he started with, move right, take his hand out of it, and try to jam it right into the 1-3.
And that takes the other leaves out of play. Is that the idea behind that?
Straighter's greater when they get goofy. And he's so good at moving right and going straight and jamming it right into the pocket. I mean, that's how he started this match. He's going to stay with curving it. We'll see if he can pry it off his hand well enough to get it to the right and see if it recovers. Oh, no. That was completely different.
Wow.
That was completely different. He moved right, backed his hand out of it, and went straighter.
Do you think that was intentional, or did he just miss it completely?
No, he planned this.
Okay.
He didn't move far enough to the right. Comes in light, and not a great break, leaving the swishing 8-10. We have a ball game, folks. If Norm gets 9 on this shot, he will have a max score of 212. Lenny Borscht can strike out to shoot 223.
First major of the season, the PBA50 National Championship here at Spanish Springs Lanes. And we've got a close one.
I'll tell you what, two of the best bowlers out on this tour, and the lanes have transitioned in such a manner where they've gotten very confusing for these players. You don't see Norm Duke get fooled very often.
That's got a chance. Pull it out.
Another 10-pin.
He's in that flat 10 zone on the right lane, and he has to finish the match on that right lane. However, Norm Duke just changed his strategy for the 3rd time in the 8th frame, and he came away with an open. How much micromanaging you think is going on now?
There's a little bit. So this is similar to what we saw from Parker Bohn. 7-pin, 7-pin, 7-pin. Obviously different side of lane, but you mentioned Lenny can't shape it like Parker or Norm. And he's got to finish on that lane, right?
Well, actually, Lenny can shape it more than Parker. Parker likes to go down and in with a lot of speed. Lenny can shape it. Lenny can open the lane up a little bit, but he doesn't have that big rev rate to where when he is opening the lane up a bunch, he can get that weak 10 out. That's why he doesn't do that. His last resort is getting in and opening up the lane. He's a down and in specialist, and that's what he's best at.
How did that come back?
Because that is the tighter of the 2 lanes, and there's friction to the right. There's friction to the right on this left lane. You just got to get far enough to the right.
203 max for Boresch, 212 max for Norm Duke. Norm can get up here and lock up this major title.
Norm strikes out. It's his. He needs a strike in the 9th and 2 in the 10th. And right now there's a bunch of stuff going on in Norm's head in terms of how to play this. There's the shot he started with. That was the shot he started with. That was a ring 10 to start. He gave it 2 looks and then abandoned it. He went right back to it. He has actually changed lines 3 times in 9 frames.
And now a chance to double and win the title.
So now he's got to look at the last shot he threw on this lane, go with that same shot and make an adjustment off of going light. He just saw what Lenny Borscht did. Lenny Borscht missed right. The ball peeled off of that spot. I look for this ball to be jammed. He's going to move right and use the friction.
This is a ball change from the last shot.
It never read the lane. It was 60 feet of skid. I don't know if he missed this at the bottom or not, but this ball never picked up. Norm's going to spare this. If he strikes, he'll shoot 192. He will force Lenny Borscht to double in the 10th to win.
We have a real chance
strike
at a
9
tie.
spare, we have a tie. Fill shot coming up, very important for Norm. This is a monumental fill shot for a major championship. because the whole landscape changes if he doesn't strike on this ball.
Been great crowds all week here at Spanish Springs Lanes. They understand the situation here.
That one read. It looked like he rolled it better.
So for Lenny, double to win, strike 9, spare to tie.
Talking with Bo Gergen standing next to me, said it looked like he missed that first one, and I agree with Bo. Bo's bowled on this pattern all week long, and Bo knows what the ball looks like when it reads properly. That second shot in the 10th read properly, and it faced up 6 kicks to 10 out. Now, Lenny Borscht time. Remember the last 2 shots on this right lane? Week 10, week 10. Bounce the 10 that time. One more of those. Lenny Borscht is going to win for 2 consecutive years here at the Villages, 2 different tournaments, and he'll be a major championship winner.
Three PBA 50 career titles. This could be his first major. And 2 of his 3 titles have come in this building. Lenny Borscht, strike to win. There it is. Back-to-back years he wins in this building. This year is for a major title, the PBA 50 National Championship, presented by Spanish Springs Lanes and Radical. What a championship match. We saw Norm Duke go through multiple line changes, multiple ball changes, and it comes down to Lenny doubling in the 10th for his first major and 4th overall PBA 50 title. Winning never gets old. There it is, Lenny Borscht. Takes out 2 PBA Hall of Famers to win the first major of the 2018 PBA 50 season. We will have a talk with our champion here in just a minute. Thank you everyone for watching all week long. And we're far from over. Champion interview coming up.
Where do you want me?
And more PBA 50 bowling in Mooresville starting Monday. So let's get a talk with Randy Pedersen and Lenny Borscht.
How about a great round of applause for Lenny Borscht? What a 10th frame finish. Lenny, we were talking up in the Xtra Frame booth about how much lane management was going on there towards the end of that match with Norm. What was going through your mind when you stepped up in the 10th frame knowing you needed a double to win?
Well, it's, something you dream about your whole life, especially against a legend like Norm, I just decided I got to move a little right and throw it a little firmer, and I moved 1-1 right and just threw it hard, hoping to get the 10 out because I tried getting in and bellying it there and kind of lost that lane a little bit, and the other lane was good, and they kind of definitely changed. So, yeah, just unbelievable.
I mean, this isn't your first win, but this is your first major win.
Yes.
What does this mean to you and your family?
It means a lot. I mean, I had a chance a few years ago against Pete and kind of gave that one away in a way. But, to win a major, anytime you went out here against these guys, it's something special. I mean, my God, these are the guys I grew up with these guys. So, yeah, it's definitely to finish like that. I'm lost for words, Randy. I don't know what to say.
And this is back-to-back years for you at the Villages, man.
Yeah, this is,
maybe you could talk to somebody
about becoming a permanent resident.
Yeah, if you ever need anybody in a pro shop here, give me a call. I love it down here. Obviously, 4 titles and 3 of them are here. So, yeah, I love the Villages. Larry and the Ducat family, my God, they're the best hosts in PBA50 tour as far as I'm concerned, you know. And these fans, my God, look at these fans. This reminds me of Randy, you know, the old Miller Open back in the day when I was a kid going up there and watched just the kind of crowds we had and all the Wisconsin people here. My buddy Brewer fan, too bad he's a Brewer fan, but I'm a Cub fan. But unbelievable. I got to just thank everybody that's been there for me my whole career, my wife, family, Storm, everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations. Send it back to the booth.
All right, congratulations, Lenny Borscht. You heard him say 4 titles, 3 here in the Villages. Might be time to move south for Lenny.